All right, let's take that question directly to our panelists this evening. Joining me is Anila Singh, spokesperson, Bharatiya Janata Party, and Dr. Anshul Avijit, spokesperson, Congress. You know, Dr. Avijit, one should refrain from writing political obituaries, refrain from using terms like, is 2024 already a done deal? But let me pose it the other way around. Is 2024 a done deal where Congress was to lead the opposition, be the principal opposition to the BJP?
No. I mean, that question will be answered at your own risk if you draw such a conclusion. Look, we've already, Preeti, admitted the kind of defeat that we had in this election. We've accepted the verdict of the people in all humility. But this is no time to be on the back foot. This is no time to be defeatist. There is no time here to be on the defensive. And in fact, in the CWC meeting that was held yesterday, we met two very important points. First of all, was that we'll continue to critique and criticize this government unremittingly, as we have done, on social issues, on issues of the economy, which has been completely wrecked. You must remember that during this election itself, there was a non-linear relationship between economic suffering and the number of votes they got. So you should never make the mistake of believing that somehow that the popularity at the hustings was a validation of the economic policies of the government. That's not true. So we will continue to critique them on the economic front, the fact that they've devastated the economy, the fact that there's been social rupturing, the fact that, our borders are unsafe now, the fact that, in the international community, our stature
but Anshul Avijit, Dr. Avijit, as I bring in my other co-panelists into this conversation, the people who voted for you are now asking you, please be done critiquing the BJP. Clearly, whatever you're critiquing on ground is really, you don't see validation of that where the vote is concerned. Why don't you, for a change, critique yourself? There are two constants, with what we've seen. The Congress loses every election. Number two is that every CWC, nothing really comes out. Where is accountability ever fixed?
That is not true, Preeti, at all. There is a democratic process which is already underway in that party. And at the end of the year, you will have a new
All right, okay, Doctor, Dr. Avijit, let me ask you this now. You say you've critiqued the incumbent government. Give me 5 critiques of the Congress on the way they've handled this election and the leadership, please. 5 critiques. Forget about 5. Give me 3.
Sure, I will. I mean, I'm glad you asked such questions because this question should always be asked. One of them is that we couldn't get our messaging across to the people. We've acknowledged that in the CWC meeting as well. We had a particular agenda. We had a portfolio. We had a very positive message. We got off to a very inspired start in this election, which was reservations for women. Also, the idea of social justice in Punjab. So we were not unable to communicate that message to the people, and that remains our shortcoming. We have to figure out ways to do it more effectively. We have to also tell the people how this government is working not in the interests of the people of the state in terms of economic policy. That's another critique, and we have been not able to successfully do that. That happens throughout the world. If you see psephologists and answer to them, you will find that around the world, people sometimes vote against their own economic interest. We've seen that in the Bible Belt in the US. I'll give you a very example very quickly, where they continuously vote Republican despite them being very poor because there's a larger conservative agenda which appeals to them. So sometimes what parties do is they appeal to emotions and other things, and the narrative remains dominant. You're unable to cut across them, and that, I will tell you, remains the critique of the Congress party. There are other critiques as well. Our organization is weak. It needs to be strengthened in various places. This was also acknowledged in the CWC meeting, and the Chintan Shivar, which is going to come out of this, is going to acknowledge that and work towards it. So there are 2 important factors which led to the defeat in this and reversals in this election. We plan to overcome them in the future.
All right. The fact is, Dr. Avijit, many would say the we needs to change because we has tried enough and we hasn't really succeeded. And it's not as, leave alone us speaking about this or talking about this in this broadcast. It's about the people who voted for we, which is you. Maybe structural changes need to be made there, and it never quite happens, other than resignations being offered, never being accepted, the supreme leadership being hailed. Many would suggest who voted for your party that we needs to go. Whatever that we is defined, where the Congress is concerned. But I want to bring in right now. Sir, give us a minute. Let me bring in your co-panelist. She's been patient enough. Anila Singh also joins us. Anila Singh, the fact is it too early? Yes. Thumping victory. 4 out of 5 you have won already. But when it comes down to 2024, that battle the script of it is yet to be written.
My Ram to everyone, and it is already written. And in today's date, if somebody compares Bharatiya Janata Party with Congress, Indian National Confused Party, then it is laughable. Because I think when Narendra Modi ji became Prime Minister of our country, very openly he had declared कि मैं कांग्रेस मुक्त भारत बनाऊंगा. And Congress मुक्त भारत, what he meant was that he is going to finish the Congress ideology, which is a divisive ideology. And whatever he said, he is proving himself correct. The way Congress is, dying in all the states, and definitely when they are dying in all the states, how they can come in center? They really have to work very hard. And this Congress party, it is full of, I can say, aspirations, and that too of selfish aspirations. Sonia Gandhi ji says that if you people want, then I and both of my children can resign. Arey bol kyun rahe ho, karke dikha do na. This shows that you do not want to do anything. That is why this country is not getting any strong, powerful opposition. No political party is able to stand in front of us. Because our strength is that we do not believe in democracy. We are a nationalist party, we think of our nation and we work according to that. But any political party which stands on selfishness, that is not going to stand for long. And this is what we are observing in Congress party or Indian National Confused Party. They are thoroughly confused people. And what the results which we have observed in Punjab, definitely it says so much. I do not have to narrate here. But if we talk about Narendra Modi ji, definitely Prime Minister is most powerful and most popular leader in post-independence era. Because he has always been in his own person, not let others define him. And he knows that what is good for the country, and he does that. Like if we talk about socio-political front abolition of Article 370, 335A, CAA, empowering women. Like this time we have seen how women have stood with us. As a community, they have stood with us. Talk about foreign policy, talk about politically, like BJP has seen epitome. I mean, wonderfully like...
All right, Dr. Anshul, Avijit, let me come back to you again. You keep saying, let's not look at 2024, it's a long way away. That's what the Congress says repeatedly. But the fact is, wouldn't you at least admit that the BJP's game plan or for 2024, the party is on track? With what happening with the Congress, neither are you stepping up, and there are others who want to take that space, but you're always contradicting them. What was your whole plan before Goa elections? You kept deriding the TMC, deriding the Aam Aadmi Party, saying 2024 cannot be fought without us. Where Goa is concerned, we can be the only party. We are not going to look at any tie-ups. It's time to come down.
It's not the Congress that is showing any arrogance. In fact, the Congress was the victim of disparaging comments from other parties. It has been already. I have to concede that Indian democracy is highly invitational. It invites everyone to partake in it. They can come, they can join in. If we fail to convince the electorate to vote for us, then other parties can do it and they can join in. But, I'm not interested in what the BJP's game plan is. I know their game plan. Listen, you traveled throughout UP. I saw your reports. Was mehengai, was berozgari, was chutta janwar. Were they not issues? Yet the people of UP chose to vote in a particular way. So the popularity in hustings is something else. Real issues on the ground is something else. So we have to work on those issues. We are trying to bring them ahead. I mean, the PM solution to Chutta Janwar was to have some sort of Gobar economy where everyone become billionaires. I mean, good luck to that. So whatever it is, whether it's the economic issues or any other issue, we are going to bring it to the people, and our messaging has to be much more accurate. Better.
Okay, I need to bring in Anila Singh, but I'll ask you, the fact is, isn't it a crime shame, Dr. Avijit, when you say there are real issues, that the people, despite of what you say were real issues, still didn't vote for you? And with an astounding margin.
I completely agree with you. And there is a particular reason for why people sometimes vote in various other kind of meta narratives which are highly polarizing. where people, parties tap into emotive issues. I'm not going to go into them. It's very unpleasant to keep going into those kind of polarizing emotive issues, but you know exactly what I mean. You've traveled throughout
No,
UP,
but Anshul, Dr. Anshul Avijit. No, that's not exact. No. I don't know exactly what you mean. And I'll tell you one thing. Because there is this delusion that surrounds the Congress. Is there polarization? Yes, there's polarization. There's a lot else with it as well. Is there delivery to the last common denominator? Yes, there is. And was there polarization in Punjab? No, there wasn't. What happened to you in Punjab? Punjab wasn't an election that was decided on polarization. Goa wasn't an election that was decided on polarization. Uttarakhand, at the face of it, it wasn't decided by polarization. Manipur wasn't decided by polarization. Anyway, Anila Singh, you wanted to come in.
Absolutely. Like Avijit ji said that Chutta Pashu wasn't an issue, and Mehgai wasn't an issue, or unemployment wasn't an issue. Women's security wasn't an issue. So these were the issues which was created and made by opposition. But people of Uttar Pradesh, they didn't stand with opposition because they had trust, faith, what UP government did in 5 years. You try to make women as an issue. कि women security यहाँ पे बहुत बड़ा issue है, and time and again, like you were quoting Unnao, you were quoting Hathras, but people didn't trust you because they knew it very well. The way Yogi government has been delivering goods on law and order situation, that is an excellent job which he did.
Okay.
So issues you wanted to make an issue, but people of Uttar Pradesh, they didn't stand with your issues. They had faith that this government is going to create jobs. This government is going to do something for the unemployment. This government is going to do double engine. Sarkar is going to do something for Mehgai as well. So now you have to see, or you have to venture some different path. झूठ के पैर नहीं होते हैं.
All right. Dr. Anshul Avijit, I'll give you the final word. Dr. Anshul Avijit, I'll give you the final word. The fact is, one can keep looking at the other way, but you've got to look within, and that's just not happening. Your own leaders are saying the same thing.
That's not true. We are introspecting. Just one word about UP before I turn to other things is that Suraksha was just nothing but a code word, was Hindutva masquerading in another form. But I'll leave it there because every Indian state, and you rightly pointed out, is sui generis. Punjab was a different story. There was anti-incumbency. We failed to see it. I think in Uttarakhand, there was a lot of effect of UP that came in Uttarakhand and swayed things against us against us and not in our favor.
Okay.
Goa was a different. Look, there have been setbacks. I admit there have been setbacks, and it's time for a course correction. This is not formality. These are not empty words. It's time for us to do something. We are about to do it. We had a CWC meeting yesterday in which we took stock of what was happening, and we are going to have another one very, very soon. You'll see changes already there.
We'll see the changes when they come, because there are two constants. That the Congress keeps losing the elections and keep setting CWC meetings without an agenda or anything coming out of them. At least that's what we've seen. Every CWC meet. But appreciate both of you for joining us. We'll have you back again. Is 2024 a done deal? Well, we don't quite know. But will it be the Congress pivoting on the role, on the front foot as principal opposition? There's a question mark on that. A quick break. Do stay with us. Up next is Rahul Gandhi.